to Saturday morning. It's more of the same today. God, St. Luke is really, our Lord is really coming at it, okay? But look at this one. Watch. He's right. Watch what he says. Jesus said to his disciples, beware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness and the anxieties of the daily life, and that they catch you by surprise like a trap. The moment of grace, you missed it because you were too busy to pay attention. I was in too much of a hurry to get home. That helped that woman. For that day will assault everyone. Now he gets to apocalyptics. Okay, for that day will assault everyone who is on the face of the earth. Be vigilant at all times and pray that you have the strength to escape the tribulations that are imminent, to stand before the Son of Man. See? That's apocalyptic, of course, okay? But if you look at it, it's written larger than life to bring out the moments of life. So often we miss the moment, not because we are bad or selfish or stupid. It's because we're too busy. We are too busy. I was in too much of a hurry to go home. For what? Say, for what? See? Our life is full of moments in which I think we miss the grace. Thank God. It's not fatal. We got chances. We recover all over the place. We learn. We learn from our mistakes. You can bet I'm never going to miss that one again, okay? That opportunity, should it ever happen again. It won't be the same, but it'd be sufficiently analogously the same that I'm going to be more sensitive to that. Maybe you will too because of the example I gave. But just an example, but it's just an example. But in our lives, he said, I think his great line is the anxieties of daily life. It isn't that we're going around snockered drunk, okay? It's not that, not at all. Or carousing and raising hell. Come on. It's not that. It's that we're busy about the moments of life. We're busy about its anxieties, or we're anxious about life. And we ought to be, because we're busy about it. But the bad news is sometimes we're too busy to hear the cry of our child or miss an opportunity to walk together. See? Think of walking with your partner in life, whoever it is, your spouse. Could be anybody. A partner could be your family, your father, mother, uncle. Could be somebody who seeks out the companionship of the moment without saying so, but invites by the beauty of their lives and maybe even the sadness of their lives. But I think of it as beauty even in the sadness. And in Sarah's tears, there was beauty, you see. In my father's feebleness was the beauty of my mother's fidelity. Did she miss it? No, she didn't miss it. And she became faithful in a way that was heroic, in my view, heroic. A moment, you know the story. My father was put in a nursing home, had to go in nursing home. He was very, very unsafe by himself. He had gotten that senile. My mother desperately tried to take care of him. She couldn't. It was dangerous. He could have started a fire in the apartment, a lot of things. Anyway, he was putting in a nursing home in Hamden, quite a distance from where my mother lived. And the reason was it was more convenient for my brother. Rightfully so. Pete was really in charge, really responsible for my dad. In this sense, he had to be there. But it also put a hardship on my mother, and the hardship we didn't realize so fully until afterwards. See? My mother didn't drive. I told you this story, I guess. She took the bus every day, and she had to change buses in New Haven to get, so it was an hour each way. She went 100% of the time, 7 days a week. That's heroic. That's love. Did she complain about it? Not a syllable. Not a syllable. That's fidelity. She had 100 reasons she could have said, it's too bad, it's crummy out, it's snowing, it's sleeting, it's bad. Nothing stopped her. That's the truth. That's the truth. That's fidelity. That's active fidelity. I'll tell you a cute story if I haven't told you before. That's a fidelity even to one whom she loves but no longer knew her. The man, my father did not know my mother anymore. He didn't know any of us. He knew me for one moment when I visited him at Christmas. After that, he never knew me. Not at all. Not at all. And he didn't know my mother. Now I'll tell you a true story, okay? This is a cute. You want to see love? This is what love looks like. It's a moment of grace. It's a true story. I was with my mother. It was Christmas time, okay? And so I brought her. I used to drive her there, okay? Whatever. And we'd visit it. We'd sit there all. My father's staring at the wall, okay? He didn't know what was going on. So my mother, he could only at this point speak Italian, as far as I could tell. So she said to him, Tarquinio is his name, Tarquin. Tarquinio, ti conosci me? Do you know me? No, no. To a sposa, I'm your wife. Sposa, te vecchia. Wife, you're an old lady. You're an old lady. My mother started howling. She's laughing so hard. Te vecchia. You're an old woman. Why would you be my wife? You're an old woman. My father thought he was a high school or college kid. Age. He thought he was a young man again. My mother delighted in the absurdity of the moment. In his senility, he was beautiful. That's a true story. I was there. Te vecchia. You're an old woman. Yeah. See, that's a true story. That's fidelity. My mother was faithful to a man who had become a stranger, but not to her. She was a stranger to him, but not the other way around. That's fidelity. Getting on a bus every day in the middle of the winter in Connecticut, forget about it. This is in Florida, okay? Every day. That's a lesson in life. And each moment, even the graced moment of the humor of that moment, te vecchia, not to be hurt, but to howl in laughter, to enjoy the moment in all its absurdity and sadness and its beauty. You see, my father was vain in thinking he was a young man. He had lost about 60 years of his life, okay? He thought he was back in Italy as a young man with this old lady. This old lady, te vecchia. You see, he had no more family. I think he actually thought at one point my mother was his sister. At one point, confusing it, but not at the end. At the end, she's a te vecchia. She was an old woman, okay? And he was a young man. The confusion was massive. Actually, I think my sister-in-law, he thought was his sister, okay? Whatever. I forget that with Carol. Carol would have, I think he confused Carol with my sister-in-law, Carol, with his sister, Bianca. I think so. I don't remember that part clearly, but for sure he saw my mother as an old lady. And it was a delight in that moment. So much I remember it's 35 years ago. I remember it with great vividness because it was a moment of intimacy, you see. That's life. See, that's the bud. See, you can miss those if you're anxious about life. You need a kind of a quietness to allow the beauty of life and its spontaneity and its humor and its power and perhaps its bite to be present to you, that you don't miss it. You don't miss the moments of life, even the moment of non-recognition in laughter. That's a truth. We sometimes miss life because we're anxious about life. We miss it. We're too anxious to allow life, to miss life's spontaneity a moment. My mother was not anxious about life, and she allowed the moment. It was a moment of both deep sadness that he didn't know who she was, but at the same time, consummate, intimate humor. It was funny, and she laughed.